Okay, hello everyone. It is now 11 a.m. and we're going to get started. Thank you so much to everyone who's joining us today at our Get Ready for Residence webinar. My name is Christine, my pronouns are she, her, and I am part of the campus housing marketing team. I will also be your host for today's information session. We are so excited to have so many of you joining us virtually and hope that this next hour can be used to give you a better understanding of the supports in campus housing and answer some of the questions that you may have. So let's get started. To begin, we'll do a land acknowledgement. The University of Waterloo acknowledges that we live and work on the traditional territory of the neutral Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee people. The University of Waterloo is situated on the Haldimand Tract, the land granted to the Six Nations that includes 6 miles on each side of the Grand River. So throughout this webinar, if you have any questions, please use the Q&A box located to the right side of your screen, and they can be answered by campus housing staff who are ready to respond. We have more people attending than we have staff answering questions, so thanks for being patient, and we will work to get through all of them. The webinar will run till noon, and we should have enough time to respond to all your questions. However, if you have any additional questions or maybe some follow-up, an email address will be provided at the end of the presentation that you can reach out to. As of yesterday, room assignments have begun to go out to our first year students, and we know that you may have individual questions regarding your personal room assignment. We advise that you review your room and accept as soon as possible. Sometimes students miss the deadline, losing their offer and the residence guarantee. Also, students may reject their offer, thinking they may receive another one. However, this is not the case. Students only receive one room assignment offer. If you are unsure of your room code, you can find this on the campus housing website. Unfortunately, not all students get their first, second, or third choice of residence preference. But residence is what you make of it, and being open to new experiences ensures greater success in your first year at Waterloo. In case of technical difficulties, this presentation is being recorded and will be posted on our YouTube page. So if you missed something, no need to worry. You can always go back and give it another listen. Okay, so now that we have our housekeeping items out of the way, we can talk about campus housing and everything that you can expect when you move in September. Throughout our time together, I will introduce you to a few campus housing staff members who will talk about our facilities, student life, residence learning, and of course, all things move-in. At the end of the presentation, we will also have a live Q&A so you can get all your questions answered before you head out. But you can also send in your questions and answers now. Okay. A big thank you to our staff that are joining us. We have Mac from Residence Hospitality. Rushika is a current student, and she works for campus housing as a residence ambassador. From student development and residence experience team, we have Abby, our residence life coordinator, and Rock, our residence learning coordinator. And last but not least, we have Mife and Rhea, who will fill us in on all things move-in. Okay, enough talking from me. Let's get started with some of our guests. First up is Mac, who is our assistant manager, residence hospitality experience. So Mac, can you give us a little overview of facilities? What do you do, and how are you preparing for fall?
Great, thanks, Christine. Hi, everyone. So as Christine mentioned, my name is Mac. I use he, him pronouns. Our team in residence facilities works across residences to create a safe and enjoyable experience for staff and students. In my role, I have the chance to oversee a portion of our facilities team who help take care and clean residence buildings, whether that be common spaces, washrooms, etc. We have 4 key areas within our team. Our maintenance, residence hospitality, and our after hours team serve students who are currently in our buildings, responding to things or making sure that maintenance of those buildings is going well. And then our facilities renewal team does a lot of planning for renovations and updates to make sure that when you move in the fall, the buildings are looking fresh and ready to go for you in your community.
Okay, great. Thanks for helping us get a better understanding of you and your team's role. We get a lot of questions about bathrooms and cleaning schedules. How is this managed in both traditional style and suite style residences?
Yeah, absolutely. So our buildings have staff in each building ready to support concerns and ready to clean those buildings on a daily basis. I encourage you to get to know our staff as well. They're great people who have been at the university for many years and have lots of knowledge about the area. As per the bathrooms question, Christine, we do clean bathrooms in traditional style residences every single day. And so if you have a shared washroom within your floor in V1 or CMH or Rev, those buildings are getting cleaned. The washrooms in those buildings are getting cleaned every day. And then if you live in a suite style residence, it's up to you to work with your roommates and to develop a system in terms of how you are going to keep that space clean, as our team does not enter suites to clean them.
Okay, that's great. And it sounds like students are moving into a space that is very well cared for. What if something happens in a student's room or on their floor? How do they go about contacting your team for help or assistance?
Yeah, so there's two main teams that students may interact with over the course of their time in residence. And so our residence hospitality experience team is really responsible for, again, that upkeep and the cleaning of each space and making sure that those spaces are ready for use by our students. And then also each building in residence has, a devoted team of RHE staff members, of residence hospitality experience staff members, who are responsible for each community. So again, encouraging you to get to know those folks in your spaces. We also have a maintenance coordinator in each building, and people can reach out to a maintenance coordinator or reach out to our teams all hours of the day, either through the front desk or during business hours. They can reach out over email, and the maintenance office will then kind of process those requests and make sure things get dealt with.
Okay, amazing. Thanks for sharing all that with us, Mac. And Mac, you lived in residence for your first year of university. Do you have any advice for students moving into residence this fall that you would like to share?
Yeah, I think that it's key for you to put a lot into your residence experience. Whatever you put into residence is what you will get out of the experience, and it can be such a wonderful time of meeting new people and making new friends and finding a community here at UW. And so I do really encourage you to get involved, seek out new opportunities, and step outside of your comfort zone.
All right, I love to hear that. So thanks for that great advice, as well as all the information you provided on how you and your team are working to keep residents in great shape for our incoming first years. If anyone has any other specific facilities or cleaning questions, Mac will be able to help answer those at the end of our presentation. So now we're going to move on to our student staff, Rashika, who is currently a residence ambassador for campus housing. Rashika, are you able to tell us a little bit about yourself and your role?
Of course. So, hi everyone. My name is Rashika. I use she, her pronouns, and I just finished my first year of honors arts and business with a major in political science, and I'm currently a resident ambassador with campus housing.
Okay, love that positive energy. You've been doing a great job this term as a residence ambassador, leading campus housing tours of UWP. Do you mind sharing us with a little bit about your residence experience? Where did you live and what was it like?
Of course. So, I lived on campus during my first year in a traditional style residence called CMH, or Claudette Miller Hall. When I first moved in, like the first few hours alone at university were truly terrifying until like someone on my floor came, knocked on my door, introduced themselves, and they kind of pulled me along to go meet the rest of the floor. And that was kind of just the beginning of my university experience. So when people say that university does have a period of adjustment, I definitely found that to be true, especially because it was my first time away from home for such a long period of time. And I know that's the same for about a majority of the other students that are there. But it's also important to remember that it is everyone else's first time at university, which makes the whole meeting people and adjusting to the new environment a little bit easier because, everyone else is in the same boat as you.
Yeah, that's totally right. So hearing about, you moving into residence, your transition, and just basically adjusting to life in residence, can you tell us about residence dawns and how your dawn helped you settle in your first few weeks?
Yes, so residence dawns are essentially upper year students that live in residence, and they have firsthand experience of residence and university life. They organize a lot of community and floor events like paint night, therapy dogs night, Mario Kart night, all of which were different events that my dawn throughout the year. And it's actually through the first floor event of the year that my dawn hosted, where we did some icebreakers, and then she took us on a tour of the Waterloo campus, that I met a lot of the people that I stayed friends with throughout the year and I'm still friends with right now. But just in general, there are tons of other support staffs available in residence outside of your dorm, like the maintenance team that Matt talked about, or front desk assistants. One of my favorite memories from my first year is when all of my friends and I were like up really late studying. It was way past midnight when we finally decided to take a break. So we popped downstairs and the CMH front desk is actually open 24/7. So we just rented out a few board games. I think it was Cards Against Humanity and Scrabble. And we just had ourselves like a little impromptu game night.
Okay, thank you, Rashika. Those bits of advice about your own experience can definitely be reassuring for our new students to hear from someone who's gone through it before. So you've taken part in a number of opportunities within Housing for Students. Can you talk about some of those with us?
Yes, so there are tons of opportunities for students to get involved in through volunteering, executive positions, or on-campus jobs, which can be found on the campus housing website. This resource was a lifesaver for me when I was trying to get involved in the school community. I actually got involved with campus housing through their one-day campus job opportunities. I worked the fall open house last year for a day, which was kind of an introduction to how campus housing runs things and what having a job on campus would look like. And from there, I became a residence ambassador for the winter term, which is basically where I just give tours to prospective students of my room and my residence building, as well as participate in events like this. And along with being a residence ambassador for campus housing, I was also a part of the residence council for the UWP area, which is where my building was situated, which means I helped plan some of the events that happen in residence, like karaoke night, or bubble tea and cookies night, which were all very fun. Other leadership opportunities include donning, which we just spoke about, being a team leader, residence engagement leader, or front desk assistant. I personally heard about Residence Council through my Dawn, but again, you can check the campus housing website, which is where I saw the posting for being a residence ambassador. And there are always tons of posters in your building around campus that are going to make you aware of all of these different job openings. Yeah, and just make sure you're always checking the requirements before applying.
Okay, that is a great point. And a lot of students don't know that they can also live within campus housing as an upper year. I know that seems so far away right now, but maybe you can just share a little bit about how the upper year experience is different.
Okay, so I'm not living on campus next year, but I do know that there are still many people that do. I mean, just in the UWP area, at least during my time on campus, CMH, the building I was in, was the only first year designated building. So there are about 6 other buildings in that area that are filled with upper year students and first year students. And living in residence as an upper year allows you access to all of those support services like your JOM, the residence life team, or other academic supports. You're constantly surrounded by like-minded peers and study spaces, which allows you to easily step into the right mindset for school. You have the luxury of being near campus and a short walking distance from all eateries and buildings. And then in terms of leasing, which may be a concern for some people considering a lot of Waterloo students do have or are in a co-op program. Yeah, campus housing offers flexible housing contracts where you don't actually need to worry about finding a sublet.
Okay, so that is just a good resource to keep in mind. You can find information about upper year housing on our website when you need it. So yeah, and finally, Rashika, what is some advice that you would give to incoming first year students as someone who is just coming out of their first year?
Okay, so I do have to say this again. It is everyone's first time in university and most people's first time living away from their families for such, like, they're far away. It's going to be a minute the next time they see their families and whatnot. So you might feel really nervous entering first year. I know I did because none of my close friends came to Waterloo with me, but you know, everyone's a little bit nervous. Everyone's a little bit anxious. So don't feel too left out. You just really need to be open to stepping out of your comfort zone, especially during the first week. A week is the best for making friends. So just put yourself out there, try getting involved in some clubs that interest you, talk to people that you have classes with, get their Instagram or anything really, because you're going to want to have a group of people that you can go to if you missed a class, you need some notes, extra help with an assignment, or just studying for an upcoming test or exam. Yeah, and just a quick reminder that everyone should be doing their own additional and in-depth research by checking out the campus housing website to learn more about where they want to live. I mean, residence is basically going to be your home for the next year or so of university, so you're going to want to know what you're getting into.
Okay, thank you so much, Rashika, for all that great advice and giving us a little bit more insight into the student experience here at Campus Housing. I hope all our incoming residents are able to have as great a time as you, and we appreciate you opening up to share your experiences with everyone here. So I'd like to pass it over to Abby, one of our Residence Life Coordinators. Abby, are you able to tell us about the role of a Residence Life Coordinator, or as many students call them, RLCs? How do you work with students, and what sort of things would students come to you for?
Yeah, hi everyone. Very happy to be with you all here on this webinar today. As Christine mentioned, my name's Abby. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm currently one of the Residence Life Coordinators. I am a part of a team of 8 Residence Life Coordinators, and so part of our portfolio oversees specific building areas and that team of Dons. So part of my role in residence is to support the students and to help students navigate their experience in university. I often work with students who experience maybe struggles and difficulties and provide support, listen to them, and then offer additional resources. I also support students who may need support following maybe some residence expectations within the community, or if students come forward with concerns about their residence experience, I can also provide resources and maybe opportunities for collaboration where applicable.
Okay, that's great to hear students have staff like you to support them through this transition into residence and throughout their whole stay with us. So tell us what kind of programs students can look forward to that you and your team are working on for the fall.
Yeah, so we like to recognize that every community will be a little bit different, and every student may have maybe different expectations on what they would like from their residence experience. Our Residence Life Dons will be here to support students with their residence experience through multiple one-on-one connections. That's a great opportunity for them to learn more about what your needs and interests are, as well as there are multiple monthly community programming that's always happening. So definitely know that your Residence Life Dons are here to support community building, as well as create those opportunities for students to connect and just have a bit of a break from your academics.
Okay, always something to look forward to. Those programming events can have a great opportunity to take a break from studying and hang out with some new friends. So Rashika did a great job of telling us about some student staff positions. Additionally, there are Residence Life Dons who are also students. And in terms of like their actual role, how are Dons different from RLCs?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, Residence Life Dons are full-time students and they are live-in staff members. So their role is really to support students with direct community concerns, again, create those connections, social opportunities, and so much more. Your Residence Life Don is going to be the one who's facilitating those one-on-one connections with you. As throughout the semester, as they understand any concerns you may have, as well as refer any resources to support you that you may need. Our Residence Life Dons are really super knowledgeable with all the resources available on campus to be able to support students with their needs. And that can be anywhere from academics to even just how to join a club. So Residence Life Dons really work closely with our Residence Life Coordinators to support the student experience. However, our Residence Life Coordinators are actually full-time staff members. So as I mentioned before, someone in my role would typically meet with students who maybe need additional supports or resources in their transition to living in residence. And then we would provide those additional resources, whether it's on or even off campus.
Okay, so Dons are really another great resource, and it's great and it's awesome to know that each student will be designated a Don who can support them. So something important for the first year student experience is mental health supports. Can you talk a little bit about what's available to them?
Yeah, absolutely. So something to just keep in mind is that support may look different for everyone. We really do our best to offer resources and supports that are specific to you as a student and maybe what your needs are. However, there are many individuals and supports available to students to access whenever they need. So for example, our Residence Life Dons do an on-call rotation every day of the week between 8 p.m. and 8 a.m. We also have Residence Life coordinators such as myself who are full-time staff to be able to support students. There's peer support through groups like Mates on campus, as well as we are able to help get you connected to other support services like counseling services on campus, maybe the Student Success Office, or any other resource on campus that really supports like a student's well-being. Someone like a Residence Life coordinator or even your Residence Life Don can support you with like walking over to those areas if you're not sure maybe where they are on campus, or even just helping you book appointments if you're interested in that. And ultimately, if we don't have the support with us that you are maybe looking for, we definitely help students get connected to resources. Again, like that can be on or even off campus if you're looking for something in the greater Waterloo community.
Okay, great. So now that we've gone through the role of a Don, what if students are interested in working for campus housing as a Don, as an upper year student? What should they be thinking about in their first year, and how can they apply?
Yeah, so being a Don involves being someone who maybe really wants to support and facilitate connections with others. So you might want to ask yourself questions like, do I like being a leader and a team player? Do I enjoy working with other students? Can I balance being a Don and school, as well as like creating those boundaries for myself? And I would say if you're someone who answered yes to any of those questions, you definitely is a position that you might want to be interested in applying for. So I would definitely encourage you to apply for the next fall. We typically open applications near the start of the calendar year. So that's, end of December, early January time. So definitely something you might want to keep in mind with the Residence Life Don position when you first move in. I always encourage students to chat with your Don, get to know them, get to understand a little bit about what they do. And another piece that is important to know with this position as well is that the Residence Life Don position is compensated through their housing.
Okay, that is a great point. Any other positions within Residence Life that are available to students that they should be thinking about?
Yeah, definitely. So we have a few others as well that folks might be interested in. So we have our residence engagement leaders. These are students who support Dons with more of the social events. So this is really a great role to take on if you would maybe like a bit of a closer look at the Don role to figure out if that is something that you might be interested in. This is a paid position and is paid hourly. If you are hoping to get more involved right away, maybe in your first year, we also have Residence Council. So Residence Council is made up of residents from all residence buildings and help organize and plan events for the larger residence community. So in the fall and winter terms, we typically have a North Council and a South Council, which are made up of executive roles as well as members at large. And applications for these roles typically open after the first couple weeks of the term. So something you can keep an eye out for in September.
All right, so no matter what, our incoming students can know that there are so many different people here to help them out along their way. So Abby, is there any other advice you'd like to share with our students?
Yeah, so I think kind of building off some of the advice that's already been shared, like moving to residence can be super exciting, but it's definitely a little nerve-wracking as well. I remember in my first day moving into residence, I was experiencing all those feelings from excitement to nerves as well. So if there's any advice I would give to students based on my experience as a student and a residence life coordinator is really just to keep an open mind. Ask questions, know that there are many people here to support you, so please don't hesitate to reach out if you do need that support. Come out, attend events, literally just like show up if your Don's running something or if something's being held. This is how you might meet some of your best friends. It's how I met some of mine. And ultimately just embrace the journey that you're going through. Everyone's going to have a slightly different growth curve, but ultimately you're going to end up creating some really awesome memories.
Okay, thank you, Abby. This has been really helpful, and I hope our students listening right now will be able to connect with their Dons and RLCs when they move in September. So now we're going to connect with Rock, who is a residence learning coordinator. Rock, the Residence Experience Program. What is this, and how can our students living in residence access it?
Good question. Yeah, so the residence experience is guided by a curricular approach, and it basically focuses on student learning that occurs outside the classroom. The real beauty, and if we're talking about access, it's offered to everyone in campus housing. We have 4 learning goals that kind of provide the direction and shape the experiences that we offer here in residence. The learning goals, to really just have them clear, it's going to be academic engagement, identity development, community engagement responsibility, and then the last one will be developing resilience. We offer learning opportunities in multiple ways over the course of the year, and some examples where you might participate in residence experience would include community meetings with your floor hosted by the Dawn, having one-on-one conversations again with the Dawn, and participating in other events happening in residence or on campus.
Okay. Rock, what type of academic supports can students find in residence, and how do they access them? Where would they find them?
Yeah, you can find many academic supports in residence as we're here to support your transition to university. It's a big step, so we're there for you. Ultimately, our residence learning team is committed to helping you making connections with your faculty, which is going to be key. And in addition to our living learning communities, which I'll talk about in a minute, the students get to participate in the drop-in tutoring program, which is open to all University of Waterloo students. The drop-in tutoring course schedule is currently being finalized, but we're really excited to update that on our webpage, which will include which courses we're providing support, as well as when the tutoring will be available. The real beauty of this program is that students can attend these drop-in sessions as often and for as long as they want. In addition, students will come to see that there's numerous study spaces and common areas students can use to stay on top of their academics and meet with peers from their program or faculty.
All right, I can definitely recommend this as a great option for students personally. What are some ways students can stay connected with their courses while also building relationships with their classmates, floor mates, or friends around campus?
Yeah, no, for sure. It can be challenging finding a balance in your first year, but it's just key to understand that we're here to support that transition. As I mentioned before, there are many supports and resources, and my peers have already explained that in great detail, so you're well equipped already. But whether that's through the living learning communities or tutoring, it's important that as a student in university, that you actively take the initiative to be involved in your learning. Advocate for your needs, share feedback, reach out to classmates, and show up and be present in your learning. We want to optimize your experience at the university. And when it comes to academic supports, there's so much available both within the residence community and then right next door, the campus, and with your faculty. So ask your Dawn, the peer leader, professor, friend, us staff that walk around, utilize the resources. We're there.
Okay, perfect. And I asked everyone else's question, but do you have any tips for students on how to be successful?
Oh yeah, I have tips. You're coming to a new environment. It'll be important that you allow yourself to be curious, explore the campus, see what furniture is kind of comfiest, and see what campus housing and the university has to offer. For anyone who did any studying or learning from home or in school, you've had strategies that probably worked. So try to maintain the elements of that routine. And I always recommend that students try to explore, find a space with few distractions because that's also key, as key as the furniture when you're doing your work, and use the dedicated space for that purpose. If you're doing group work, utilize the common spaces, use virtual connections such as Teams. And then when you're studying, it's strongly recommend not to mix your work and the play. Start with short study periods and then build to longer periods as fast as you maintain concentration. Everyone's different and there's so much advice here. So use what works for you. Here in Residence Learning, we're here to help all students be successful.
Okay, hopefully students are able to find the right space for them so they can be successful. And it's great to hear that there are different options outside of just their dorm room. Do you have any additional advice for our incoming students?
Yes, yeah, find what works for you. It's kind of, again, an exploration, but take the initiative to reach out when you need it. Have a question or have lots, just ask them. We'll happily help you out with what you're seeking. And then another piece of advice would be around how students currently manage their time. It's the big one. I actually had a hard time adapting, and I realized how much routine can really just help structure the day. So take the time really early to review your strategies and just adjust as needed. It's fair to say that university is an experience for everyone, so don't hesitate to connect with your peers and work around it. University is going to be really what you make of it.
Definitely, that's what we always like to say too. So living learning communities, there are about a few hundred students coming in that are going to live in living learning communities. What do you have to share with them today?
Yeah, no, living learning communities bring students together from the same programs and faculties. That's the core goal there. What's exciting and adding to the 6 other living learning communities, we'll be housing our first honors mathematics living learning community come the fall, which is right around the corner. These students will live near to each other on the same floor. They'll have access to a peer mentor who's an upper year student, as well as enhanced support for their academic program and faculty initiatives. This way, students can tell who is an NLC and which LLC they're a part of by the sticker that you even see on the slide. And then they can also look forward to the fun social and academic events with students in your program or faculty. There's one-on-one mentorship and a welcome event with your faculty, and even more over the course of the year. We're really looking forward to it, working with the peer leaders to bring a lot of programming forward.
Okay, that all sounds amazing. Thank you so much, Rock. I hope students are able to take advantage of some of those tutoring and study tips. I'd now like to welcome Mife and Rhea. Mife and Rhea are the current move-in operations coordinators. So why don't you introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit more about your role as a coordinator?
Hi, everyone. My name is Mife. Thank you again for attending today. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm one of the movement operations coordinators here at UW.
Hi everyone, my name is Ria and I'm also one of the movement operations coordinator and my pronouns are she and her.
Yeah, so as move-in operations coordinators, we organize all things move-in related. So from traffic flow to appropriate signage, our job is to ensure and make sure that move-in is a positive and welcoming experience for all incoming students.
Okay, Mife and Ray, your questions exports. Speaking of questions, what can we expect for move-in this year and what do we need to know?
That's a really good question to kick us off. So this fall move-in will take place across 4 days, Thursday, August 31st through Sunday, September the 3rd. If you are an international student, you are encouraged to arrive on Thursday, which is August 31st, in order to attend your international student specific orientation. Please note that you cannot move in earlier than August 31st. This is in order to ensure that our rooms are in tip-top shape before your arrival. Should you require short-term accommodations, we recommend you check out our short-term accommodations page. More information about late arrivals will be communicated soon if you are unable to move in during the move-in period itself.
Yeah, and also all students who are moving into residence will receive an email in a couple of weeks that will allow you to select a move-in time slot, as well as any additional information pertaining to your move-in appointment. So time slots would be 30 minutes windows to allow you time to pick up your keys. And this is in order to ensure that we are able to manage traffic flow and also prevent backup at the front desk of your residences. So it's very important that you select your preferred move-in slots as soon as possible, as soon as you get that email. You will also be able to change your time slot up until August 31st. So for example, if you picked a time slot for 8 a.m. on Thursday, but actually 8 a.m. on Saturday works best for you, that's no problem. Feel free to change your time slots.
Okay, those are all, those are some good tips to know. What about getting to campus? Are there options for students coming from the airport?
Sure, I can answer to that. So on June 27th, all eligible students were sent an email that contained important information regarding the airport shuttles, as well as a link that allows the students to register through portal using the discount code sent to your UW email itself. So this year, the service is available for first year international and undergraduate students, exchange students, second and third year students arriving on campus for their first time. Once your shuttle arrives on campus, there will be several directional staff who will guide you to pick up your keys, help you carry your belongings, and help you locate your room. If you have any questions regarding the shuttle service, please email them to ise@uwaterloo.ca. And if you have any further questions about your shuttle or you want to make any changes or even to cancel your booking, then you would need to email info.waterloo@airwaytransit.com. If you're unsure about your eligibility to the shuttle service, then you can check out the FAQ page or also email ise@uwaterloo.ca.
Perfect. So scenario here, we just arrived to campus. What can students expect to see when they get here to move in?
Yeah, so in a couple of weeks, that importance email that I mentioned earlier that would allow you to sign up for your move-in appointment will also include maps that will help you navigate where you drive in, where you pick up your keys, and where you unload your belongings. So ensure you continue to monitor your inbox. And also throughout the 4 days, there will be loads of directional signage as well as directional volunteers who will help guide you so you won't get lost. You're permitted to bring as many guests as you'd like to help you move in, especially because this time there's no longer a limit to the amount of people and restrictions have been lifted. However, please note that we will have move-in help available, and in your unloading zones, there will be designated movers who will help you carry your belongings to your rooms, as well as moving carts that will help make transportation of your belongings easier. In order to pick up your keys, we require that you bring a form of government-issued photo ID at the front desk, and this will also provide you with your exact floor and your room number, and also a super fun lanyard. You will also receive your WA card, which is your Waterloo Student ID card, and this will grant you access to various services on campus, such as printing, food services, which is like your meal plans, laundry machines, gym membership, and even transportation. So remember to upload your photo as soon as possible so that WA card is ready when you arrive. So if you upload your picture by August 22nd, your WA card will be ready for you when you arrive.
All right, that sounds like an option to take advantage of for sure. Your walk card is so important once you're on campus, and it'll be very handy if students can pick it up right when they move in. And just to ensure you get access to the cafeteria right away, and so you're able to use your meal plan right away. So now that we've heard a bit of information about move-in, is there anywhere we can find out what we should pack for residents?
So on our website, we have variety of packing lists to help support your moving on to residences. We have lists for suggested school supplies, appliances, electronics, clothing, bath and laundry, bedding, and even much more. We also have lists specifically for suite style rooms that include the kitchen materials that we recommend you pack, as suites do not include dishes or cooking utensils. Just to be mindful about that. If your suite mates have shared their information with you, we suggest connecting with them directly so you don't bring 8 pots, 3 can openers, and just 2 plates.
Okay, packing is definitely something not to save to the last minute, so it'll be great to check out the list to plan ahead. What sort of things should students be aware of when finalizing plans to arrive on campus?
Good question. So on September 3rd is the last day to for a move-in period. So please note that this allows you time to attend your orientation, your welcome week events, and your first floor meetings with your dorms. So this is where you meet all your new floor members, floor mates, and settle in.
Okay, and I guess, yeah, is there a one piece of advice or something you like to tell students to look forward to come September?
For sure. So do not be afraid to start conversations. Everyone is a bit nervous being in a new place, new school, or even a living area. Don't hesitate to start a conversation with your roommates or floor mates. Be sure to connect with your dorm in residence to gain knowledge and support and events that are available. There's a great way to connect and meet new people. Go for a walk with friends around campus if you can, as campus is beautiful. Another great way to make memories. In my first year, during the first week, when I sat down in each lecture, I would do a full 360 and say hi to everyone in the seats around me. Now I have really good friends in my program.
Great, I love that 360 method. So thanks, Mife and Ria, and thanks to Abby and Hrishika and Mac. It's been awesome chatting with you, and we appreciate you being here. So now for some extra details we'd like to highlight for you at the end. The advisors, the campus housing advisors receive a high volume of inquiries at this time. So here are some of the most common ones we have yet to cover. When do I pay my residence fees? Your residence fees along with your tuition will be due on August 22nd, and it will be paid through your Quest account. For more information on payments, you can always check in with Student Financial Services. Next question. If things change and you are no longer able to come to residence, what should you do? Not to worry, please reach out to one of our housing advisors by email at housing@uwaterloo.ca to discuss options and next steps. If you are a study permit student, you can receive your full residence fees refunded, and if you cancel, you can have, if you're a study permit student, just contact housing@uwaterloo.ca to find out how. What about folks that are looking at deferring their offer of admission? If you defer your offer of admission before August 1st of 2023, you will receive your deposit back. And finally, if you move into residence and decide it's not for you, our Residence Life team, as Abby had talked about, are here to support you. Any questions or concerns about cancellations and withdrawals, please visit the campus housing website. The W store on campus is a great resource you should check out. If you haven't bought any Waterloo swag yet, or are you looking for room supplies, give them a follow on their social media or check out their website. The W store has a ton of apparel, items to outfit your dorm, and many more. You can also order your textbook and course materials from the W store, so check them out as soon as possible. Food Services is your go-to contact for any meal plan inquiries. If you need to add more money to your account, you have questions about open locations or any dietary restrictions, reach out to Food Services. They have an on-campus dietitian who works with students to navigate any dietary restrictions and accommodations. Food Services has recently included an app to order food ahead of time and takeaway containers. Remember, if you're living in a suite style residence, meal plans are optional, but if you're living in a traditional style residence, they are mandatory. Okay, that was a lot of information that we just covered. So let's recap what you should keep on your radar. First off, give us a follow on social media at UW Housing. We'll be posting more information throughout the summer, including important dates, move-in information, what to pack, and feel free to DM us there with any additional questions. Plus, during the school year, we'll be posting weekly updates of things happening in residence and on campus too. Another point, make sure you're checking out your UWaterloo email address regularly for move-in information and for your invitation to book your move-in time slot. We'll also be sending you more email reminders throughout the summer, so keep an eye out for these. Start getting your things together that you want to bring to residence and get ready to move in between September 1st and September 4th. So for the remainder of the time here, we're going to answer some questions from you all. We have a few minutes. We're under time. So if you have anything for our guests here today, feel free to start posting them in the chat. You can open the chat by clicking the three dots that appear when you hover over the bottom, the Q&A, and clicking on the bubble. Make sure you are submitting questions to all the participants so that everyone can see them. We will do our best to cover as many of these as possible. Rock, there's a question here. I don't know if you can address it. What activities do students in living learning communities get involved in at residence? And are there any specific activities just for them?
Yeah, this is going to be much easier than typing.
Yeah.
there's going to be many activities those over the course of the time in residence and as a member of the LLC. They'll also be specific to the LLC you're part of. There's going to be a guaranteed welcome event. There will be other events over the course of the term that are very faculty or program specific, where we'll invite the faculty members to play perhaps a board game. We'll invite alumni members to talk about what are the prospects after your program. There's going to be plenty of opportunities throughout. While some may be a little more specialized, specific to members of the LLC, there is more often than not the open invitation for other peers in the same program or faculty to join in. So hopefully that helps clear that. But I love the question. I'll still provide a typed answer so that you have that.
Okay, great. I actually put that in published if you want to look for it there.
Fantastic. I'll look for it.
One student asked, when going on a co-op term, is there a room or locker or any such facility available to keep my stuff in while I'm on a work term? So if you are a four-stream student where you would come for the fall term, leave to do your co-op for the winter, and then come back in the spring, we do not have storage for students during that time, so you'll have to move all your things out at the end of December after you're done exams. You would go to your co-op and then you would move everything back in. There are storage facilities within Waterloo that aren't far from campus, so you can take a look there if you need somewhere local to store your things in the meantime. Are there printers and Xerox machines located in each of the residences, or do we have to go to another place for those tasks? And also, will they be provided at additional cost or be included in our fees? So there are printers at the front desks of all the residence buildings. So say you're in Rev, you can go to the Rev front desk and you can just ask the desk staff to print whatever you need. There are fees, but you can just use your WAT card. So the WAT card is like your student ID card that your meal plan will also be on. So you can use that to pay for all print work. There's a question if there is an LLC for engineering, and there is not an LLC for engineering. Does our meal plan start as soon as move-in days start? Yes, as soon as our residence buildings open, our eateries will be open and you can be able to access them. Once again, you will need your WAT card to use your meal plan. So I would definitely remind everyone to try and arrange to have everything in order so that you can pick up your WAT card when you move in. What is the deadline for paying our fees? So I mentioned this kind of at the end of the presentation. Both residence and tuition fees are due August 22nd, and you will pay those through Quest. Did anyone else see anything, any of our panelists that they want to speak to from the questions? I can keep going too. Mifei, I don't know if you can speak to this. What are the ranges of the time slots for move-in? And if my flight arrives at 8 p.m., can I still move in?
Good question. So the move-in period starts from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So if your flight arrives by 8 p.m., there is an option to message us and let us know ahead of time. And then we try to find a solution to that. So like, for example, picking up your keys at the front desk and who to meet and where to meet them.
Great. Someone had a question, do we have locks on our doors? And if living in a suite style residence, would each room have their own lock? So yes, you would get a key to your suite, and then you would have an individual key to your room, and only you will have that room key. There's another question. Does the university provide any specific space like a locker room to keep our important documents like passports? So we do not have anything like that, but you will have a lock on either your nightstand or your desk that you could utilize to put private things in if you'd like. Someone here asked a question, if I signed my United College contract and it said my move-in date would be September 3rd. If you have any questions about United College, St. Jerome's, or Renison, I would contact their email inbox in order to find out questions or and answers about those residence buildings. I'm not sure the details. Is a recording of this webinar available? It will be available on our YouTube account. Campus Housing has its own YouTube account. So I would check it over, the next 3 to 5 business days, and we'll put it back up. Someone asked if they could bring their own mattress to residents. We provide mattresses. Mac, do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, I'm happy to speak to it. Unfortunately, you cannot bring your own mattress into residence. If you'd like to bring, there is a list of things that you are able to bring furniture-wise. And the question also had mini fridge listed, and a mini fridge would be an appropriate thing to bring into residence. But mattresses, we do have concerns about bed bugs and things like that, and so we do try to keep our any other furniture being brought into residence to a minimum, just so that we are making sure that our buildings are remaining clean and sanitary for everybody, and we just simply can't check every piece of furniture.
And then Mac, while you're here, I know you mentioned safety at residence, but do you want to maybe highlight some things that we might do or things that we're working on?
Yeah, absolutely. So our buildings many of the buildings have 24-hour front desks within them. And so there is somebody who is present in the buildings, and our after-hours staff are around the buildings at all times doing work and chipping away at projects and things like that. And so there's a presence of staff members throughout the buildings. Many of the areas also have security who patrol the areas, and UW campus is patrolled by our on-campus police, which is called Special Constable Services. And so they would do a lap through residence areas quite often as well, 24 hours a day, and they're ready to respond to calls and things like that if there is ever any concerns from students. Beyond that, as we've talked a little bit about keys and things like that, obviously you'll have a key for your individual room or your individual suite, as well as your bedroom within a suite. But you also have a key or have walk card access into the outside of your building. And so people cannot enter your building or enter your community, I should say, without access as being someone who lives there. And so those are a few key pieces, but happy to answer more questions if people drop them in the chat.
Someone asked, will students be allowed to live on campus during December holidays? So we shut down over the December holidays. We do have a December bridging program for international students. You can look for information about that, September, October. There is like an application process that you have to go to, but it allows students to remain on campus throughout the holidays and leading up to move in January. Okay, well, it's actually time now. There are still a lot of questions, so we'll try and address them. You can always email housing@uwaterloo.ca, and our housing advisors will, we get back to our emails, in a very reasonable time. This is our busiest time of year, but we try and get back to everyone as soon as we can. And we do answer all emails that come in. We also have a phone line that you can access, or you can look up our phone number on our website. But yeah, there are a lot of questions here about room assignments. If you do have questions about your personal room assignment, you can email us at housing@uwaterloo.ca. One thing to remind students, and this was put in your initial email, we do not make room changes once room assignments have gone out. We do that for multiple reasons, but we just like to remind students that yes, this is your residence experience, and it is what you make it. And most of our students are very successful in their first year, both academically, socially, and they just end up having the best time. So yeah, I'd like to say goodbye. I'd like to thank all of our panelists for coming out today, and we look forward to welcome you in the fall.